Hey, this is Dr. Curry, pastor of the East Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and anything you can do about it. Saints, today we're going to have coffee with Curry in a different way. We are still in the midst of celebrating and highlighting the Diabetes Awareness Month. As you know, November is the month where they highlight all of the facts regarding diabetes. Because it affects our community so strongly, I wanted to make sure that not only did we do one show, but that we did two shows to really get us thinking. It is not by accident that this is celebrated. This awareness of diabetes is celebrated during the month of November. That's Thanksgiving month. And I know many of you have eaten those turkeys, and you've eaten that stuffing, you've eaten that macaroni and cheese, as well as all of those yams and collard greens with all of that fat in it. And you really may not be feeling as good today as you need to be feeling. But I wanted to just do one more show as we are celebrating and highlighting Diabetes Month. So why don't you call somebody real quickly and tell them Coffee with Curry is on, and that they don't want to miss this show, because we're going to have some good information to help you control the diabetes that may be in your life. And let's get after it. And we're back. Well, we're going to start off our discussion today on the first question, and the most important question, which is, what is diabetes? Now, I just want to say, for the sake of clarity, I am not a physician of any sort. I've researched information. I've received information. I had different conversations. As you saw last week on the show, we had professionals on. But I wanted to really, one more time, just recapitulate this whole notion of diabetes. So I don't want anybody to say, well, Pastor Curry said this, and this is why I'm going to move in the next way. Make sure you are consulting your doctor to get every bit of information you can get on diabetes. Today, I'm just going to give you a brief overflow. We're going to have a few commercials that will help you understand the professional's point of view on diabetes. So the question that stands up first is, what is diabetes? Diabetes is a chronic, long-lasting health condition that affects how your body turns food into energy. It affects how your body handles the food. If by some chance your body cannot break down the sugars and the various elements of the food, then it will create problems. So diabetes really deals with, is a chronic illness that deals with how our body handles our food. Most of the food we eat is broken down into sugars, as I just indicated. It's also called glucose, and releases it into our bloodstream. When our blood sugar goes up, it's a signal that our pancreas needs to release insulin, that it may balance our bodies. Insulin acts as they call it, the key to the blood sugar into our body cells, so that we can use it for energy. But when it is not released appropriately, it goes all through our body, causing all kind of havoc. So first, I just want to make it clear, it is a chronic, long-lasting disease. If you don't have it, you don't want to get it. If you have it, we can live with it. We just have to make sure we are taking the appropriate precautions. Now, just for the sake of giving you a strong update on diabetes, I want to talk about the numbers. You're going to see them appear on your screen, because it's going to be important that you see the facts, the numbers of how it affects those of us in the United States. 34.2 million U.S. adults have diabetes, and 1 in 5 of them don't even know they have it. Lack of education, lack of knowledge, lack of going to your physician to get checkups causes us not to know. You can't wish this away. For those of you who are part of the Christian community, we can't just pray this away. We have to understand our bodies and what it takes to keep us living. When the Bible says that when Jesus said, I've come that you may have life and have it more abundantly, it did not negate the fact that we needed to take care of our bodies. The second thing I want you to know is that diabetes is the seventh leading cause of death in America. It is up there. I'm asking you to please pay attention. Many of our loved ones, including many of mine, have died at the hands of diabetes. In Black and brown communities, it is very high. Why? Because most of the food that we eat is high in fat and high in sugars, but we can control it. Another fact that I wanted to throw out there: diabetes is the number one cause of kidney failure and lower limb amputations and also blindness. This is why I decided to check my CL1 and to see where I was, because when I heard that it causes your kidneys to fail, when I heard that we can have some amputations of legs, toes, and things of that nature, as well as a blindness, I said, I really need to get this under control. For all people who believe that it's funny to eat all of the sweet potato pie you can eat, it's funny to be able to eat what you want to eat because you're going to live forever, we're not built that way. Whenever our sugar is not regulated appropriately and the fat is not regulated appropriately in our bodies, it causes diabetes. Another one that was very interesting is that in the last 20 years, the number of adults diagnosed with diabetes doubled. In the last 20 years, there is so many chemicals placed in our foods. There are so many different things happening with the preserving of our foods that it has doubled. I'm begging you, before we go to our first break, I'm begging you to take some time, schedule an appointment with your doctor so that your doctor will be able to look back and say, you know, you are a high risk. You really need to get it under control. Because listen, you cannot live a long life if you're suffering with diabetes and you have not paid attention to it or given it the appropriate care. The purpose of the show today is to talk about diabetes. It's also to make sure you understand the facts. People are dying. People are losing legs, toes. People are going blind, all because of ignorance. You can live a long, healthy, prosperous life with diabetes, but you have to get it under control. And we do not get it under control by wishing it away, by ignoring it, by saying, hey, it won't happen to me, by saying, my family didn't have diabetes. It can start with you. You should test yourself regularly. You should talk to your doctor. You should get a physical. Listen, when I was 30, I decided I was going to put my health under control. As you can see on the camera, I am not a thin guy, but even though I'm a little overweight, I am very much healthy. I make sure I take the necessary precautions so that I can enjoy the quality of life. I am not telling you that if you have diabetes, you will not have quality of life. You will if you choose to get it under control and take the proper measures. Before we go to a break, I want to talk about the types of diabetes, because there are three leading types, and I want to make sure you understand the difference between the three. You might not have this one, you might have the other, or you may be a part of the other, but I want to just make sure you understand there are three different types. Number one is called type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is caused by I'm trying to think of it's when the body attacks. It's like the body attacks the system so that you won't be able to produce the appropriate insulin in order to break down your food. Approximately 5 to 10% of the people who have diabetes have type 1 diabetes. And that's one of the ones that is very, very critical. And we're going to spend a little bit more time talking about it. But this is more of an immune issue going on. It's like more of a autoimmune issue where you can't even produce what you need to produce in order to break down the different fats and sugars in your body. So we're going to do a lot of, when we come back, we're going to do a lot of talking on type 1 diabetes, because I think that's very critical. Then there's one called type 2 diabetes. And what type 2 diabetes is just your body doesn't use insulin well. You can break it down, but it's not done well, and you can't keep your blood sugar at a normal level. It fluctuates because your body can break some of it down, but it doesn't do it to the level that it needs to. It doesn't operate in a normal capacity. So when you overload yourself with sugars and fats, your body cannot keep up with it. So type 2 is really something we can manage and really get it under control. And according to the data, 90 to 95% of the people with diabetes have type 2, meaning they have the tools to be able to live and function normally, but it just doesn't function to the level that it needs to. But with your help, you're able to make it happen for you. And then there's one called gestational diabetes. This happens in women when they're pregnant. Now, a lot of times, and I know that we experienced that too when we were pregnant with our daughter. My wife had a touch of it for a second, but they can get that under control. And then once they get that under control, that will help even the child, because the child can end up having diabetes if you don't get it under control while you're pregnant. But that normally happens within pregnant women. And if you have gestational diabetes, your baby can be at high risk of health problems after the child is born. Gestational diabetes usually goes away after the baby is born, but increases the child's risk of diabetes later in the child's life. So all of this has to be monitored appropriately by your doctor. That's really what I'm just simply saying. With whether you have type 1, type 2, or gestational diabetes, it needs to be monitored by your doctor to make sure that you are doing the right things. Even if all your life you've been tested a while back and you did not have diabetes, any traits of it, everything was working fine, you should still, because the older you get, the more things go astray. And you want to make sure you stay on top of your health. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Before I take that commercial break, let me just say this too about pre-diabetes, because that's the area where I was at one point, where I was pre. I wasn't diabetic, but I was at the pre. And in the United States, 88 million people are pre. And as I said, I was there. The doctor said, listen, you got to watch this. You have to watch that. You can't do this. You need to lose a little weight, because if you ever enter into type 1 or type 2, then you're going to find yourself in a whole lot of restrictions. But a lot of people are pre-diabetic and they don't know it. I'm going to keep saying this throughout the whole show so that you will not forget it. Get tested. Go to your physician. If you do not have a primary care physician, get one. Stop using the Med Express as your main place, because you only go there when there is an emergency. Get your health under control, because diabetes is nothing to play with. Again, blindness, amputation of limbs, those things are horrifying. I don't want those things to happen to me, and I don't want them to happen to you. So I hope and trust that you will start off by making sure you get checked. We're going to take a break. And at this break, we're going to let you see the professionals who will certainly know what they're talking about at a very, very deep level to give you a few bits of information. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Joan London. Diabetes is affecting more and more of us every day. Family members, friends, maybe even you. More than 30 million Americans are living with diabetes, and about 1 in 4 of them don't even know it yet. In fact, many of us don't even fully understand what diabetes is or how to know if we're at risk. So to help us, I am joined by Dr. Ann Albright, Director of the CDC's Division of Diabetes Translation. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Joan.
What's the basic definition of diabetes?
Well, there are two major forms of diabetes. Type 1 is a disease in which the body no longer is able to make enough insulin. And those who have type 1 diabetes must take insulin to survive. In type 2 diabetes, it's a disease in which the insulin is not acting properly. People are not sensitive enough to their insulin, and so they may be on insulin. They may also be treated with pills, and they may certainly and must eat healthy and be active. It's a key component of treating type 2 diabetes.
How do you know if you even have it?
If you are urinating a lot, if you are losing a rapid amount of weight, if you are getting some infections that don't heal. The issue is not everybody experiences those symptoms, and those who do may not necessarily think it's something that they have to get checked out or that they certainly think are related to diabetes.
And what are the risk factors?
That is something you really should be paying attention to for type 2 diabetes. The risk factors are if you're over the age of 45, if you are not as physically active, you're not getting enough physical activity, if you're overweight or obese, and if you're a member of a high-risk ethnic group, African American, Hispanic, Latino, American Indian, Asian, Pacific Islander, if you're a woman that had gestational diabetes or a baby weighing more than 9 pounds. All of those things are risk factors.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jen.
And for more information, you can log on to cdc.gov/diabetestv. We'll see you next time. I'm Joan
The National
London.
Diabetes Prevention Program is led by the CDC, backed by science, and delivered by trained coaches.
The Lifestyle Change Program is different from other approaches to weight loss and changing behavior because it really deals with the whole person and helps people kind of look at their whole lives and how do I make small changes that I can live with and still reach my goals.
Type 2 diabetes can be prevented. Learn how this proven program can help. Visit www.cdc.gov/prevent-type2.
There's several things to find out about your health history in terms of type 2 diabetes. The first is there a history of type 2 diabetes in the family? Is there anyone in the family who has type 2 diabetes now? Are there people in the family who have been told they're at high risk for developing diabetes or that they need to lose weight or be more active in order to prevent diabetes? People from certain racial and ethnic populations, including African Americans, Hispanic or Latinos, American Indians and Alaska Natives, and Asian Americans or Pacific Islanders also have a higher risk for developing type 2 diabetes. And then the other question is to find out if your mother had gestational diabetes during her pregnancy. If the answer to any of those questions is yes, talk to your doctor about getting tested for prediabetes and diabetes. We know from the Diabetes Prevention Program and other studies that in fact there are things that people can do who are at high risk to prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes. For example, they can lose a modest amount of weight, become moderately physically active. For example, walk 30 minutes 5 days a week, and make healthier food choices. And those things can go a long way to lowering their risk and therefore delay or prevent type 2 diabetes. It sounds easy to say, lose a modest amount of weight, become moderately physically active, make healthier food choices, but we all know that it's not that easy. Making changes in lifestyle is one of the hardest things that people do. One of the strategies that we know that works and helps is to involve the whole family in preventing diabetes. So think about how, as a family, you can be more active, make healthier food choices, and support each other in those efforts to live a healthy and long life. the first thing to realize is that change doesn't happen with one giant sweep of willpower. So one of the strategies that we know that is effective is to take a big change and break it down into steps. So make it as simple as, in order to be more active, in order to begin to lose weight, what is one thing I can do this week that will help me to make a step towards that goal? So for example, if you want to be more active, maybe you need to start simply by looking at your schedule and finding a good time to exercise. Maybe you need to start with just a walk around the block. Maybe you need to look at, do I have the right shoes and the right time and the right equipment that I need? So break it down into doable steps, figure out what the barriers might be, and strategies to overcome those barriers. Two of the resources that we have available here are, first of all, the Small Steps, Big Rewards, because we know that by making a series of small steps, you do in fact reap big rewards in the prevention effort. And second, your game plan, which really helps you to think through step by step, what do I want to do and how can I get it done? Both of those tools are designed to help you think about what do I want to accomplish and how can I break it down into steps that I can then achieve, and then take another step and then another step, and continue on the road to preventing diabetes. For additional information, visit the National Diabetes Education Program at yourdiabetesinfo.org.
And we're back. Well, today we're talking about diabetes. We had an opportunity to talk about diabetes type 1, type 2, and gestational diabetes, as we are now a part of the month of November, which is Diabetes Awareness Month. Last week we had on the show two professionals who certainly gave us some tidbits on diabetes. But again, I am very concerned as a pastor, as a person, a member of the African American, the black and brown community, that diabetes run rapid in our community. So I wanted to make sure that we really did enough awareness to remind you that this is a very serious and common illness, and we really need to make sure that we're keeping a check on it. So what I want to do in this segment is just to talk a little bit about the symptoms for type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes, okay? Most patients find out that they have type 1 diabetes because they developed symptoms all of a sudden over weeks and months. It's not like you automatically born with it. You develop these symptoms, and the symptoms that are developed is very common. I want you to pay close attention. One is increased urination. You have to go to the bathroom a whole lot. You're going. You just went. Now you got to go again. And a lot of times we'll bar that off and say, I drank a lot of water, or I hydrated myself a little bit too much. But whenever you find yourself urinating a whole lot, you should check your sugar, your blood sugar count, because that's going to be very important to see whether or not you are developing type 1 diabetes. Another one is that you have an increased thirst, where you just got to keep drinking. You got to keep drinking water. You never quench your thirst. You want to drink this, you want to drink that. You may not even want water. You may want sodas and Pepsis and things of that nature. You just want to continue to drink. And that is a problem too. That can also be one of the symptoms for type 1 diabetes. Another symptom is blur of vision. You know that you've had pretty good vision most of your life, and now all of a sudden you feel like, oh my God, I see things that are blur. I can't see like I used to could, or things are very blurry and fuzzy now. That could be a sign, because remember what I told you earlier, diabetes can cause blindness. And if it can cause blindness, a part of that is that blur vision. Please, young people, if you're listening to the show today, and as well as seasoned people, if you see any of these symptoms in you, you need to really get yourself tested, because that's going to be important. But what about rapid weight loss? That's also one of them. All of a sudden, you're not even really trying to lose weight, but all of a sudden you're losing weight. You're losing weight and you're losing weight. And that's not a part of what you were trying to do. That could be a sign of diabetes type 1. And last but certainly not least is the fatigueness. Now, when I say last, I don't mean what I've listed are the only ones. But what I'm saying is these are the ones that are very quick to identify. Fatigueness, you're always tired. Oh, I just don't want to do anything today. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. Fatigueness is a sign. Get checked. It does not matter your age. Well, I'm young. I'll bounce back. No, get tested. The earlier you get tested, the earlier discovery is made. If it is made, then you're able to combat it. You won't have to worry about some of the things that can happen to you later on with this diabetes type 1 or diabetes at large. Again, let me just recapitulate. Increase urination. If you're finding yourself having to go to the bathroom constantly over and over again. Number 2, increase thirst. I'm now more thirsty than I've ever been. I cannot get enough to drink. Well, and it's not always about water, because some people don't like water. Anything to hydrate you, just want more and more water. Another one is blurred vision. Make sure you're watching your vision. And I know sometimes when you get a little older, because I never wore glasses, but I'm wearing them today now, and this day, because, for reading and things of that nature, I have to make sure I can see everything. And then weight loss, rapid weight loss, sudden weight loss. You didn't even plan for it. Now you're losing weight. And last but certainly not least, the fatigueness. These are just signs and symptoms of having type 1 diabetes. You must get checked by your physician. You should make an appointment today. Make sure you have a primary care physician, because if you do not have a primary care physician, going to MedExpress does not help the duration of your life. It handles emergencies. Let me give you a fact real fast. When there is not enough insulin to process sugar, your body begins to break down fat as a fuel source instead. Say that again. When there is not enough insulin in your body to process sugar, your body begins to break fat down as a fuel source instead. Your liver converts fatty acids into chemicals called ketone body, which can cause your blood to become acid. And I want to say to those of you, I'm trying to make sure I got my notes right, because whenever you're giving out this type of information, you want to make sure you're giving the facts. But what I'm really trying to make sure you understand with this fact is that if your body is not producing the insulin that it needs, it can cause your body to go astray and have other things happening. Please get checked. This can cause the quality of your life to really go down and become lessened. I hope that you will pay close attention to the warning signs, the symptoms that can happen. Increased urination, increased thirst, blurred vision, weight loss, and fatigueness. These are the things that you can look for, and they will help you to see whether or not you need to make sure you are tested and that you are not diabetic 1, 2, or have gestational diabetes. Now let me just talk about managing, and then we're going to go to a break. I want to talk about managing diabetes type 1. It requires a holistic approach. It's not about a one and done deal. Once you discover you have it, you got to be able to not give up. You have to deal with it. And when you're dealing with it, it's called managing it. You have to be able to say, you know what, this is new to my life, but I don't want the quality, and I said that 3 times on purpose, I don't want the quality of my life to diminish. Because listen, what is the purpose? What is the purpose to be around and you cannot enjoy the life that God has given you? I say to the saints here at Easy Iron Fair often, God wants us to be physically fit, mentally alert, and spiritually alive. We cannot be partial for how can we tell others that God is a healer and we're not even healed. We are sickly. We barely can breathe. We must take our health into our hands. Faith without works is dead. We all have a part to play. Stop saying the Lord will provide and eating all that greasy chicken, fried chicken, and all of those chitterlings, or as we say in the hood where I'm from, chitlins. Let's stop doing that and believing it's good. We have to put our health under control. We have to manage. Once we discover we have diabetes, we have to manage it, and we have to manage it well. So although type 1 diabetes can be difficult and a very hard disease to manage, it is possible with a combination of proper insulin management and the following things. So what the doctor or my research notes is telling me is that you can personally manage your type 1 diabetes by proper insulin as an additive and a few other things. Number one, blood sugar monitoring. You must monitor the blood sugar in your body. There's a prick. I don't even want to get into the types of ways you can do it, because they even got new kinds where you can just put they got some new technology out. So the best thing to do is find what is best, but don't just go off of what you may find over the counter. Get a primary care physician. Share with him what you would like to do, and let him or her share with you what is best for you to do. God sent preachers to help save souls. God sent doctors to help save lives. Both are called of God. I know in the church years ago, they used to talk about don't listen to the doctor, don't listen to the lawyer, don't listen to this one, only listen to the man or woman of God. Well, I have come to tell you the truth, that God called the preacher and God also called the doctor. And both of us have different roles in saving. One deals with souls, the other one deals with life. So please make sure you talk to your doctor about what you want to do and what type of system you want to use to monitor your sugar. Another thing is through nutrition. Change your eating habits. You don't have, and I'm talking to myself now, you don't have to eat honey buns. That was my weakness. I went on a personal fast to get rid of honey buns because I could not live a day without eating 3 or 4 of them. You don't have to have the chitterlings. You don't have to have all of that high in starch, high in sugar, high in fat foods to be filled and nourished. We've been brought up on McDonald's. Not everybody who's listening to me, but some have been brought up on McDonald's and fast food that is fried in grease. But you don't have to continue to live your life that way. Sit down with your primary care physician and say, listen, help me to have a balanced meal. And it might take a little bit longer in the prep, but your life will be sustained much longer. Not only do we need to watch and monitor our blood sugar count and live more and eating more nutritious foods like fruits and vegetables. And when we talk about vegetables, we're talking about vegetables without the butter, without the grease. You know, we like to make our collard greens with all that fat in it. We like to make our string beans with all that butter and the corn and things of that nature with all the butter in it, but void the butter and the salt and things of that nature, but also exercise. Now, this was a hard pill for a lot of people, especially in my family and other places, to deal with. Exercising doesn't mean you have to go to the gym and work out furiously for 30 minutes, an hour. Why don't you learn to take a walk? I did something that was interesting, and it works for me. Many of you can, well, I don't know if you can see now, but if you see me in totality, I've lost some weight. I decided instead of parking at the mall in front of the door, I now park at the back of the mall. And I walk to the store. Why? Because every bit of exercise matters. It's not always about a one and done. We're going to work real hard and we're going to be fit in 30 days. Change your lifestyle. Take the walk. Go in the mall. Don't always go to buy. Go and walk around. Walk constantly. Drink water. This helps you to have a more healthy and more lengthy life. I think that the blood sugar count matters. I think that nutrition matters. I think that exercise matters. But here's the last thing you need to do. Get support. I've been talking about primary care physicians throughout the whole show. And I still stand firm on you getting a primary care physician. But I also think you ought to get support even beyond that. Some group or people who specializes, like we had on the show last week, the YMCA, who have these programs that will help coach you, that will help aid you, that will give you the motivation to do what you need to do that your life may be healthy. Once you change your lifestyle, everything becomes better. We've been used to doing things that are fatty, but now let's find out how we can do things much more suitable for our lives by eating things that are nutritious, by exercising, and by checking our blood sugar count. I think these are just a few things you need to make sure you know. Now, let me give you another fact. With good patient education, good nutrition, and lifestyle counseling, and with the expert and support of various dedicated healthcare team, you can live and manage diabetes successfully. If you follow a plan, a regimen, you can manage diabetes successfully. Do not become stressed out because you heard or you found out or you discovered that you are diabetic or you have diabetes type 1 or type 2 or gestational. Let's not use that as an opportunity to be stressed out, but let's get after working on our lives. Let's get after making our lives stronger. Let's get after making our lives more productive by getting involved in our health. Getting involved in your health is the number one key. Hiding from the truth will not save you. Facing it head on will. I've learned a poem, when you're up against the trouble, you meet it squarely face to face. You lift your chin, set your shoulders, and take a brace. When it's vain to try to dodge it, you do the best that you can do. Running from it will not save you. See it through. Black may be the clouds about you, and your future may seem grim, but don't let your nerves desert you. Keep yourself in fighting trim. And I'm going to go to the end of it. Keep your head up, eyes front, to the front. Just see it through. We'll be right back.
Before the YMCA's diabetes prevention program, I would drink about 2 liters of soda a day.
Before I found out I was pre-diabetic, I would just eat everything that came across my plate.
I had very high blood pressure at one point. I had high cholesterol. I tended to work a little too much and to eat late at night when I got home.
Trying to fit in a healthy lifestyle has been a real struggle to me. I realise that work is important, but I'm important too.
Very often we hear so much about, oh, well, only Black people get diabetes, or only Latino people get diabetes, or only Asian people get diabetes, depending on the community you're in. Everyone gets diabetes.
With 26 million Americans diagnosed with diabetes, there's no denying the magnitude of the problem and the impact this places on our patients, their families, and the burden on the healthcare system as a whole. We expect the number of diabetics to double within the next 25 years. Diabetes can lead to some catastrophic complications, including blindness, heart attacks, strokes, and kidney failure.
Certainly, there are things that can increase your risk. If you have someone in your family who's a first-degree relative, a mom, a dad, a sibling, anyone who's had gestational diabetes in the past or has had a baby that weighs more than 9 pounds, all these things can increase your personal risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Right now, many physicians are using the hemoglobin A1C as a simple blood test to tell us whether or not someone has diabetes or pre-diabetes.
The hemoglobin A1C gives us a motion picture of what your sugar has been over the last 8 to 12 weeks and an average of that.
If your A1C ranges between 5.7 to 6.4, that tells us that you may be at risk of having pre-diabetes.
I thought my health was pretty good, but then I went to the doctor, I did my physical, and that's when he told me that I was pre-diabetic. I thought it was a death sentence.
Often when they find out they have prediabetes, they're really devastated because it may even seem that they're destined to become diabetic themselves. That is not true. When I meet someone who has prediabetes, I get really excited because this is an opportunity to really change the course of their health.
The doctor explained this would be an opportunity for me to not just delay the onset of diabetes, but perhaps even prevent it.
In 2002, it was published in the New England Journal of Medicine that, in fact, you can prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes through a lifestyle program.
The YMCA's Diabetes Prevention Program is a year-long program consisting of 16 core classes, meeting 1 hour once a week with a group and a qualified health coach.
Once the 16-week cycle is over, once a month thereafter, the group comes together for reinforcement education.
We're going to move into how to really work on taking in less fat. The two main goals of the program that we work on through the course of the 16 weeks is to lose 7% of their starting weight and to increase their physical activity to a minimum of 150 minutes per week. Every week when they come in, the first thing that we do is we take their weight. Their weight is not shared unless they choose to share their weight.
I was really excited because I reached my goal weight first.
If you can get your trackers out.
When we go to the sessions, we track our food intake every day, we track our physical activity every day, and we hand this into the lifestyle coach, and she comes back to us and gives us hints on how we can improve.
Little tips like if you're ordering salad, order the dressing on the side. When you order a meal, cut it in half immediately to take half of it home.
Does anybody remember what pattern eating meant? Watching the type of food you take in is going to also make a difference in the calories and the fat. We look at the food labels, which is a very good source of information.
The calories is 10, and the total fat is 0.
That's a good snack. That's a good snack.
The camaraderie that develops is very nice because the research does show that individuals that engage in group care tend to have better outcomes.
Looks like a lot in that plate.
Now look at
When they come into this group-based format, they seem to bond with the other people in the group. And I think it's important for people to see that they're not in it by themselves.
As a team, we've developed together, we've learned together, we make choices together.
Because you don't go to the buffet all the time.
I needed other people with me to see that other people are going through the same problem as me.
That's good job.
After the core 16 classes are done, you'll continue to meet monthly with a health coach in your class to keep you on the right track to better health.
Working on that.
The YMCA Diabetes Prevention Program is the best possible option for patients.
This program is what we've been waiting for.
I encourage individuals here and my own patients to participate in the YMCA's Diabetes Prevention Program.
You're making a positive change in your life. You're taking control of your future. You're learning about something that can help change your destiny.
It's really improved my clarity of thinking. It's made me much more self-aware and more self-confident that I can actually stay on this particular program of change for life.
The program hasn't been a diet for me, it's been a lifestyle adjustment. It made me feel better, it made me feel healthier, it made me feel stronger.
You can take control. The YMCA's Diabetes Prevention Program really said to me, stop making excuses, do it now.
I feel really good about myself, and I'm not scared anymore. I know I could beat this, I did beat it. It has changed my life, and it will change yours.
As a healthcare provider, what's important for me is that it works, and you can't beat that. An institution you trust in a program that works.
Hi, I'm Joan London. 84 million Americans have prediabetes. 90% of them don't even know it. And they're at risk of developing type 2 diabetes. The good news is that this can be reversed. Making lifestyle changes can help prevent or delay getting type 2 diabetes. Take a look at Michael's story.
My name is Michael Jones. I'm a retired NYPD police officer. At the time, it was a wake-up call that I had pre-diabetes.
You have peanut butter. What is the serving size for the peanut butter?
The counselors in the program showed me that this was in reach. You learn something new every time you go there. Basically, I just started shopping better. I cook my own food. I do calisthenics right here in my living room. Or I'll just go outside and run around the park. The results of my blood work for my A1C test are now close to normal. You really can reverse pre-diabetes. I'm proud to see how far I've come.
I'm joined now by Dr. Ann Albright, Director of the CDC's Division of Diabetes Translation. Tell us a little bit more about the program.
The National Diabetes Prevention Program is a structured lifestyle change program with the strongest evidence. And in the program, as you saw in Michael's story, people get together and have the opportunity to learn how to make healthier food choices, get more active, very importantly, how to problem solve and figure out how to cope with those barriers that are keeping them from those changes.
All right, Ann, thank you. And to find a National Diabetes Prevention Program near you, log on to cdc.gov/diabetestv. And if there's not a program near you, you can join a virtual program that follows the CDC curriculum for diabetes prevention. We'll see you next time. I'm Joan London.
For prevention of diabetes, the best thing is to make sure you're at a healthy weight. You want to eat healthy foods and really keep seeing your primary care doctor to make sure that you are staying healthy so that they can do routine monitoring of your blood and keeping you accountable for your healthy weight and healthy lifestyle. So a pre-diabetic basically means that a patient their blood sugar is somewhat high. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's not. It kind of fluctuates between a normal range. A lot of times it depends on what they have eaten. If they've eaten really high sugary foods or high in carbohydrates, their blood sugar will probably likely be a lot higher than, say, a normal person's blood sugar after that meal. But yet it's not so high that it's causing problems yet. Diabetes will affect your kidneys, will affect your heart, whereas pre-diabetes, you might be on the road to that, but not quite there. And that's at pre-diabetes and before is really where we would like to catch our patients. If you are a pre-diabetic, you can definitely change your lifestyle and get out of that category. A lot of times it has to do with just changing your lifestyle, changing your eating habits and changing your exercise habits or start exercising. Possibly just losing a few pounds will be enough to get you out of that range of pre-diabetes. There are a few different ways that we can screen for and diagnose diabetes. The most common one is a hemoglobin A1C. This is a blood test that can be performed that will kind of give us an average of what a patient's blood sugar has been doing over a 3 to 4 month time period. We do use it for screening as well. Sometimes we'll see that a patient is borderline or pre-diabetic, and we can start to take more intensive preventative actions to help prevent that patient from going on to become diabetic. Risk factors for diabetes would include if you have a family history of diabetes. Also, if you are overweight, you are more likely to become diabetic. If you have a poor diet, if you eat high sugary foods or high carbohydrate foods, you're going to be more likely to become diabetic as well. Other risk factors for diabetes, Hispanic is definitely a race factor that you are more predisposed to diabetes, as well as being a Pacific Islander or Native Alaskan. They are also at higher risk for diabetes, as well as Native American.
National Diabetes Prevention Program is led by the CDC, backed by science, and delivered by trained coaches.
The Lifestyle Change Program is different from other approaches to weight loss and changing behavior because it really deals with the whole person and helps people kind of look at their whole lives and how do I make small changes that I can live with and still reach my goals.
Type 2 diabetes can be prevented. Learn how this proven program can help. Visit www.cdc.gov/prevent-type2.
Well, we're about concluding our show for today, and I hope and trust that I was able to say something. I know I'm not the professional, as I share with you on the front end. I'm just a person who want to get the information out. I have a love affair with the black and brown community. As a matter of fact, I have a love affair with humanity at large, and I do not want to see anyone suffer for no reason. I've watched too many members of my congregation. I've watched too many members of my family. I've watched too many people I loved and cared for die at the hand of diabetes. We have to take better care of ourselves. We have to manage our health better. So I wanted to take this opportunity during the month of November to really highlight Diabetes Month because it does affect the black and brown community much stronger than other communities. And it's important. We just finished Thanksgiving, and I know you had the fried turkey. I know you had the macaroni and cheese with extra cheese. You had the sweet potatoes with extra sugar, and you had the stuffing with all the trimmings, all the fat from the turkey, as well as other stuff you added in it. We just enjoy food because food is comforting to us. But we have to manage our lives so that we can be here longer. In conclusion, I just have a few things I want to say to you. Remember this, that diabetes is a condition that can be managed. You manage it by living a healthy lifestyle filled with exercise, proper diet. That's how it happens. You make sure you're getting your blood sugar count taken so that you'll know where you are and you become in charge. So again, as a summation, I want you to find the balance. Find the balance, no matter what type you have. Find the balance. Find how it can work for you that you may live long and productive. Number 2, get the right care for you. I've said it throughout the show. You need a primary physician. Med Express is wonderful for an emergency. Med Express is wonderful to help us while our doctor's office is closed. So is the emergency room. But that should not be your primary physician. You should not be seeing a doctor only when there is an emergency. Some emergencies we can't rebound from. We talked about losing vision. We talked about losing limbs. And our liver collapsing, where you can't even break down the waste in your body. We must get this issue down packed and get it under control. You may say, Pastor, I thank you for your coffee with Curry, but no, sir. I want to say to you, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. We must get diabetes under control. Because listen, it is not discriminative. You cannot say, I'm strong and I'll be fine. Because even the strong become weak when various diseases start taking over their bodies. The last thing I want to say to you beyond finding the balance and getting the right care is to get your blood sugar count tested constantly. Check yourself. If you are under the care of a primary care physician, they are doing that when they do all that blood work. Listen to your physician, just as you listen to your pastor. Your pastor tells you to pray. Your pastor tells you to talk to God, and he or she is correct. We must pray. We must talk to God. But here's God's answer. I've sent you others that you may have life and have it more abundantly. I want to tell you a story as we're closing out this segment. There was a woman who lived in a town, and this woman was noted and told everybody of the level of faith that she had in God. Oh, she talked about her faith, and she demonstrated her faith. The newscaster came on the air and said everybody must leave the town because a flood is coming. And this storm will flood out everything, and no one would live. This woman decided, I will show them who God is. I will not listen to this newscaster, because I'm going to show them that God is real and he will not let me die. The rain came. The flood started. The woman finds herself at the roof of her house of this flood. A man came by with a helicopter. Woman, grab on, save yourself. She said, oh no, I cannot do that. I have faith. I want you to see how powerful God is. I will not grab hold to the ladder on this helicopter. I'm going to let God show the world his power. Then a man came by in a tugboat. Said, woman, please come on, because you're at the top of your house and the flood is about to take you under. And that woman said, I heard my pastor say, he may not come when you want him, but he's going to show up on time. You and your little tugboat can keep on moving. Then the water took her. She drowned. She died. She got to heaven because she did love the Lord. And when she got to heaven, she put her hand on her hip and she said, God, I'm disappointed. Why are you disappointed? I'm disappointed because I wanted to show the world your power and you let me die. Why? The Lord's response to her was, you should have died. I sent you the newscaster. I sent you the helicopter. I sent you the tugboat, and you rejected them all to prove your own point. What is my message in that? God is sending you the warning. Get yourself checked. Get your diabetes under control. Stop eating all that fatty stuff that is causing your life less, and then getting up on Sunday mornings and testifying about how good God is, and you barely can breathe and barely have life. It's time to take control of our lives. During the month of November is Diabetes Awareness Month. Zion Fair Baptist Church wanted to make sure that we highlighted that. Let's change our lifestyle. Let's be who God has called us to be, that we may be strong. I thank you for the time that we shared together today. It's been a joy. It's been a privilege. Remember, primary care physician is what's needed. It's been a joy. It's been a pleasure of being with you today. I pray that something I said or done have blessed your life, have helped your life, and have caused your quality of your life to be increased. Thank you. Until the next time, God bless.